When you walk into a CMP exam, it's not the same as when you walked into the MEP station for your initial entry physical. Yes, the VA has three objectives of the CMP exam. One, to confirm the disability. Two, to measure the severity and the impact of the disability. And three, when requested, to make an opinion on the service connectivity. But unlike the MEP station, you have your own corresponding objectives to accomplish. And they are: one, guide the examiner to your actual current and medically verifiable diagnosis that's in your file to make sure that they have access to it and they are able to read it. Two, that you're able to articulate the actual impact of the disability on you and on your daily life. And three, the service connectivity, that you guide the examiner to the evidence in your claim, but also if the opportunity presents itself to expound on how A, your service, caused B, your disability. So that's the what. So today we'll go over the how. So welcome back. My name is Mike. I am a 28-year Army veteran who also served as a county veteran service officer for several years. So today we're going to continue our series on the CMP exam. This is part 2, execution. And I recommend, if you have not seen part 1 on the shaping and preparing for the CMP exam, I highly encourage you to do so. Again, as before, this is not legal advice. This is just me sharing my experience as a previous county veteran service officer. So let's get started. First, 2 notes up front. One, just to reiterate the significance of the CMP exam. The CMP exam could be the tipping point between an approval and a denial from the VA. 2, when you go in, observe the process. Take very good mental notes because it could serve you later on, and we can go over that at that time. So first, I'd like to talk about, just share some of my own experience with CMP exams. Through the different process of the claims, I have attended well over a dozen CMP exams. And bottom line up front, no two are exactly the same, even though they all have the same 3 objectives to accomplish. I've had some examiners that were VA doctors that had done dozens, if not hundreds, of CMP exams. On the other end of the spectrum, I had a civilian doctor. By his own admission, I was his very first CMP patient. I've had some doctors that were very well-versed in my claim before I actually arrived. They had apparently read my file, read through my actual claim, and looked at my medical records. On the other end of the spectrum, I've had doctors tell me that they were unable to see my files until I was actually in their presence. So their knowledge of my case was next to zero. Also, you have different bedside manner. Some are very engaging and give you the opportunity to talk and explain the 3 objectives that you must accomplish, while others may be very checklist oriented, and you may have to take the opportunity to ensure that your objectives are actually achieved. So again, no two are the same. So how to overcome one of these different CMP exams that may or may not be as open as you had hoped. I always advise my veterans to take in notes. And really by notes, I mean just an outline. This is equivalent of the 4138 extract for that actual condition. As you recall, I always use the 4138 to serve 2 purposes. 1 is a roadmap, and 2 is a table of contents. But if your original 4138 for this claim may include 5 conditions, for your notes that you're going to take in is really an extract for the one condition that you are being seen for this CNP exam. So in that, just as we laid out, one, you want to make it very, if you can type it up, that's great, to include your name and your file number, or at least the last four of your social, so you can leave it with the CNP examiner. But one, you should start with the diagnosis, is have on there the notes of where in your evidence claim is the actual diagnosis from your primary caregiver or the VA on the actual diagnosis. Two, the actual impact of the disability. And this is where it's very critical for you to be able to articulate. Not all severities can be measured in an office in a 20 to 30 minute time period. Some can. If it's orthopedics and they go by range of motion, they can have their protractor and they can measure your movement. Others, they cannot. For instance, a back injury, you may have a compressed disc or a slip disc that causes back spasms. Back spasms cause bed rest. Bed rest causes you to miss work. Now, this information should be in your claim, but to be able to articulate to the actual examiner is key. Same with the next one, service connectivity. Again, on your notes, you should be able to point within your claim where you have stated the evidence, lay statement, buddy statement, service treatment records of where A actually caused B, your disability. This is also very critical during the CNP exam, because a lot of times the CNP examiner has no military background and they are not very familiar. I had one examiner, I'm pretty sure he did not know the difference between paratrooper and paranormal, which could be expected. But take the opportunity, make the notes of where the evidence is, but if given the opportunity, you can explain in more detail. Sort of like the example I used previously in a previous video of the veteran for hearing loss. We laid out that not only was he just a jet engine mechanic, that he was there, 7-8 hours a day, either on the flight line or head into an engine, that he went there 5 to 6 days a week, 7 days a week when they were deployed for 5-6 weeks at a time. And then he was there, without proper hearing protection back in the 1950s. So take the opportunity to explain that if the examiner does not clearly understand the nature of your actual duties in service, because some of it's not just an incident, not just one exposure, not just one injury, but the accumulation of your actual service. So again, make that like an extract from the 4138, clear, concise, and try to keep it as brief as possible. Even in the military today, we always say if it's longer than one page, no one's going to read it. So in summary, this is not a MEPS physical exam. This is a dialogue where you have your own corresponding objectives, where you're to assist the VA. This is not a adversarial relationship. You want to assist the examiner and guide him to the information that give the diagnosis, the severity, and the service connectivity. And that when you walk away from the exam, the goal is not that you convince the examiner that this is a service-connected disability, that you have convinced the examiner of where the information, the evidence is located in your file, so they can fully understand and use that information to make their final opinion. Again, prepare and be engaged when you go into the exam, and make sure you observe all of the entire process. Again, my name is Mike, and if you have comments or if there's any other videos you would like me to cover, please let me know. If this was any value to you, please subscribe, like, and share. Thank you.